It was the coldest night of the year, snow tearing through a small town, when a black single mom opened her diner door to 25 freezing bikers. She didn't ask who they were. She just said, "Come in." But when the sun came up, she heard a thunder that shook the ground. 1,500 Hell's Angels lined the street outside her door. What happened next, no one in that town will ever forget. If you're part of the Black Visionaries family, hit that like button right now and subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories like this one. It was the kind of night where even the mountains went silent. The storm rolled in like a living thing, roaring through the frozen streets of Coldridge, a small forgotten town tucked in the hills. Snow came down in violent waves, and the roads vanished under a thick white sheet. Most of the town had lost power hours ago. Only one place still had light, a tiny roadside diner with a flickering neon sign that read Maya's Stop and Go. Inside, the smell of burnt coffee hung in the air. The heater coughed and rattled as Maya Thompson, a hard-working single mother, wiped down the counter. Her son Jaden, 10 years old, slept in the back booth under his coat. It had been a slow day, and the snow had cut her off from customers. She was just about to turn the sign to closed when the faint sound of engines broke through the howl of the wind. At first, she thought she was imagining it. But then, headlights appeared, not one, but dozens. Motorcycles, covered in snow, crawled into the parking lot. She counted 20, maybe more. Her stomach tensed. 25 bikers in the middle of a snowstorm. Not something you saw in Coldridge. The door burst open, and a blast of icy air rushed in with the first man, tall, broad, with a beard thick with frost. He removed his helmet, his face red from the cold. "Ma'am," he said, his voice deep and raspy. "We're not here for trouble. We just need a place to get warm." Maya froze. They looked intimidating, all leather jackets, boots, and tattoos, but their eyes told another story. Exhaustion, desperation. She looked at the blizzard outside, and then at her small son sleeping in the corner. The mother in her made the decision before she could overthink it. "Come in," she said. "All of you. Sit anywhere. I'll make coffee." They hesitated, as if they couldn't believe what they'd heard. But soon, one by one, they entered, stamping snow from their boots, hands shivering. The leader introduced himself as Reaper, president of a biker group called the Iron Sons. They had been hauling supplies across the state for a veterans' shelter, but got trapped when the storm hit. Maya made as much coffee as her old machine could manage. She fried eggs, poured soup, warmed bread, everything she had. The men devoured it, grateful beyond words. "You didn't have to do this," one of them said. "Most folks wouldn't even open the door." Maya smiled wearily. "You're cold and hungry. That's all I needed to know." As the night dragged on, something unexpected happened. The fear in the air faded. The bikers laughed quietly, shared stories, even helped fix the dying heater. One of them played soft guitar, while another cleaned the snow off the front porch so Maya wouldn't slip in the morning. Reaper watched her the whole time. This woman who had nothing yet gave everything. "Ma'am," he said before lying down on the floor with his jacket for a pillow, "you've got more heart than most people I've met on the road." By dawn, the storm had ended. Maya woke to find the bikers already up, cleaning dishes, stacking chairs, refilling the firewood. When she tried to stop them, they just grinned. "Least we can do," Reaper said. She served them breakfast, pancakes, eggs, whatever she could make. And when they tried to pay, she shook her head. "You already did," she said. "You reminded me good men still exist." Before leaving, Reaper placed an envelope on the counter. "For your kindness," he said simply. Then they rode off into the white horizon, engines echoing through the valley. When Maya opened the envelope, she gasped. $2,000 in cash, and a note written in neat handwriting. "For the woman who gave us warmth when the world turned cold. The Iron Sons." She pressed the note to her chest and whispered a prayer. She thought that was the end of it. But fate was just getting started. 3 days later, the diner was back to its quiet routine. Maya served a few regulars, refilled coffee cups, and chatted with an elderly couple about the storm. Then she heard it again, the sound that had become unforgettable. A deep, growing rumble that shook the ground. At first, she thought it was thunder. But thunder didn't multiply. The sound grew louder, closer, until the windows started trembling. People ran to the door, trying to see through the sunlight. What they saw left them speechless. Down the highway, stretching as far as the eye could see, came hundreds of motorcycles. The noise was deafening, thousands of engines roaring in unison. Within minutes, the diner parking lot and both sides of the road were filled with bikers, more than 1,000 of them. Their jackets bore one unmistakable symbol: Hell's Angels. Maya's heart pounded. Jaden pressed against the window, shouting, "Mom, look!" She rushed outside, her apron still on, her breath fogging in the air. The lead rider stepped forward. It was Reaper, smiling beneath his helmet. But now, his jacket bore both Iron Suns and Hell's Angels patches. Behind him, the crowd of riders stood silent, engines idling like thunder in the distance. "Reaper," she said in disbelief, What is this?" He took off his helmet and grinned. "You helped 25 men when you didn't have to," he said. "We told our brothers. Word spread. So today, we came to return the favor." And then he waved his hand. Trucks pulled in behind the bikes, filled with boxes of food, clothes, and supplies. A flatbed truck parked beside them carried brand new kitchen equipment, tables, chairs, and a giant generator. The townspeople watched in stunned silence as biker after biker began unloading everything. Reporters and camera crews arrived within minutes, capturing the unbelievable scene. Maya stood frozen, tears running down her face. "You can't be serious," she whispered. Reaper smiled warmly. "Oh, we're dead serious. You gave us shelter, fed us, treated us like family. So now, 1,500 of us came to make sure you never struggle again." Jaden ran forward and hugged Reaper's leg. The big man laughed and lifted him up with ease. "You've got one brave mom, kid." For the rest of the day, the bikers worked like an army. They rebuilt the diner's roof, painted the walls, installed the new stoves, and filled the pantry. By evening, the place looked brand new, glowing under the sunset. The sign above the door now read, "The Angels Rest." When Reaper handed Maya the new keys, she was crying too hard to speak. "You didn't just help us," he said. "You reminded us that kindness still exists. And we don't forget kindness." The story went viral overnight. News channels across the country aired footage of the event. Single mother shelters 25 bikers, receives help from 1,500 Hells Angels. Donations flooded in. The once struggling diner became a landmark. Travelers came from miles away just to eat there, leaving thank you notes on the wall. Every year after that, the Hells Angels returned to Coldridge. They didn't come for noise or rides. They came to serve. They donated food, built shelters, and raised money for families in need, all in honor of Maya Thompson. She became known as the Mother of Angels. Years later, Maya would stand by that same window, watching the horizon fill again with motorcycles. Jaden, now grown, would stand beside her. "Mom," he'd say softly, "do you think Dad would have believed this?" She'd smile. He always believed that good finds its way back. And as the engines roared across the valley like 1,000 beating hearts, Maya whispered to herself, "That night, I didn't just open my doors. I opened the world's heart." The storm that once threatened to bury her life had instead brought her a new family. One made of leather, loyalty, and the kind of love that never asks for anything in return. Because sometimes, the smallest act of warmth on the coldest night can echo louder than 1,000 engines. One cold night, a single act of kindness changed everything. Maya opened her door, and the world opened its heart. If this story moved you, show some love by liking the video, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who still believes in humanity. This is Black Visionaries, where real stories remind us what goodness looks like.